Welcome back, peeps. Got my buddy Dave back. Dave is back after his lovely girls' party. How was the party, Dave?
The party was good, 3-day party, 35th birthday kind of thing started Thursday night. I wrote an exam Thursday evening and the party stopped Sunday. So I'm still on recovery mode. But,
Good to be on again.
hey, listen, as you get older, it takes a lot longer to recover, no matter what type of shape or whatever. Like, I'm
Oh,
finding alcohol is like crushing me right now the next day. And it wasn't like that before.
I think I remember my coach's wife in El Paso. She said we won it all. And then she came up to me and said, Mac, why? Because I was dead. Like for the anthem, I was sweating and throwing up in my uniform. Like I was sick. We win the game, and then I'm like went out for a beer with the boys, and I had to check out because I was gonna fall over. She comes up to me as I'm walking out. And she goes, "You haven't gone to curfew all year. Why are you doing it now?" I'm like, "What? I didn't just
Yeah.
do this to break the rules or anything. Or sometimes some guys got different ways to prepare for a game, and anyway, yeah. So then, needless to say, I went home, slept for a day, and then partied for 30 straight after that, probably. But yeah, age
Right.
age
Like
is
we had
huge.
absinthe. That was in It
Oh,
is. I was in Prague like a month ago and I bought this original absinthe bottle and I was really pumped and there was just the two of us kind of having a party and we got the absinthe and it destroyed me. It was literally like 2 days. I woke up with vertigo the next day. This was only 3 weeks ago. And I got up and I'm like, oh
you've
no, I
aged
got
in a
vertigo.
month.
And I've had it before. Yeah. And I fell onto the bed and I'm lying there almost crying. I'm like, no, absinthe, no.
So you you bring it to. So have we have it in Ontario, right? Or I'm not in Ontario
We
now.
do, but it doesn't have the
Yes, it doesn't have the
thujon,
word.
which is the THC, the
So
wormwood and all that. It has the wormwood, but
it
yeah,
does.
no,
So I
this
thought
one's
it was
got
the
the
worm.
thujon. This is legit.
So
No, wormwood is like the licorice flavor.
okay. So
It's the thujon, which is the THC that they have in it.
I'm glad you
And
told me that because I've been telling everybody the wrong story. Because
yeah, that's
we
what it is.
we had I came my buddy who I played with, Slovak guy, gave me a bottle. I must have indulged already because it wasn't even a full bottle. And that night at the cottage, six of us like were on mushrooms, had this absinthe, and it was like we were at a rave. And then we're like looking online, and it's at the liquor store. We caravan into the liquor store, buy
Yeah.
2 cases of it. Night two, we're like, "Ugh."
Yeah.
And then we're three
It's like
bottles deep, and we're
Sambuca, the
looking at
one.
everybody else, going, "Are you feeling anything?" I'm like, "I'm not feeling anything. What's going
Yeah.
on?" And they're like, "Wrong kind.
Yeah.
Got to get it shipped in."
Yeah, that's what it is. I used to get it shipped in like about 10 years ago into Ontario and from Slovakia or wherever,
Yeah.
and they would wrap it in a Christmas present or birthday wrap so that it would just get slide through the border. And the first time I ever did, very first time, we were three of us, my brother-in-law and the stepfather-in-law, and we were so scared, right? We're just like, what do you do? We're putting it on fire and all that stuff. And then we started shooting it. So then, okay, a couple shots, whatever. Then I go to make a pizza and I throw this pizza in the oven and I take the pizza out and I don't let it cool. And I cut it and I ate it. And a piece of cheese flipped on my lip and on my chin and it started burning and blood was dripping. And I was sitting there like, I'm burning, I'm burning. And I rubbed it off and I had scars all year for like forever. Like, I don't know, like a year. Like it was crazy. So
Uh,
then now it's like just be careful, but yeah, that absinthe
you need
is
a
dangerous.
babysitter on
And I think in
absinthe.
this, yeah, but in the States you have that what is it, that grain alcohol where it's like 150 proof and
Oh,
$7 for a 26er.
they make what you call it, like the punch at the. I just had some at my daughter when I went down to daddy daughter thing at the university. I know what you're saying.
Hold
Moon,
on,
moon,
hold on. Well, there's moonshine,
boon.
but what do you mean you're at the daddy daughter? Because I've had daddy daughter events too, and it kind of feels a little bit weird, right?
Well, yeah, no, now it's pretty much a rave. Like, so we went down there. I went with a girl I was dating, and we went, and it was supposed to be the football game, IU football game, IU tailgate, and then it was just, they call them dirties, Dave. They call them dirties. It's party in the day, dirty, dirty.
Yeah, start in the afternoon kind of thing.
I'll start when you wake up, and I'm glad she's a
Yeah.
straight A student, because I don't know if I would have attended any classes. My goodness, they get after it, and having a big school, and the big football sports program, the whole bit, but it was, of course, I had a fun time. It seemed exciting.
Yeah.
I like dirties. Feel like I'm at the cottage.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so we got she's already, all her friends were get Daddy Mack down there again. But
Yeah.
have some fun, family time, and when we're like, we were talking about that absinthe, like there was where was I going with that? See, that's the problem, the absinthe and concussions.
Yeah.
Oh,
We should have a concussion bell. Ding.
that's a good idea. Carolyn wants us to do daily things. I'll just start ringing bells, but then I'll start
Yeah.
walking around like a zombie. Ding, where do I go now?
Right. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. And I can go smoke, and then I'll just forget what I'm talking about.
Right.
And then we're good.
You and I'll just walk by
Just
the mic,
dead
have a
end,
random
dead end.
conversation. Hi, Dave. Ding. Okay, see ya.
Hey, friendly walk by.
Oh, so it was not the other day. It's got to be a couple weeks ago, too, because it was prior to me going to Canada to see Jack play, and it was a tough sort of the therapy day, and my shoulder was sore, and I started rubbing it, and have you ever heard of vasovagal?
No.
So vasovagal, Dave, is when you get older, it's a valve, and I could be screwing this up just like I was screwing up the ringworm or whatever it's called for the absinthe.
Worm. Yeah.
And what was that thing for absinthe again called? The tea?
Wormwood.
No, and then
Thujon.
Thujon, not Poojon.
Thujon, THC. So think about it like that.
Okay, so the Thujon. Anyway, back to Bobby pass out. So when you get older, you can have this vasovagal. So if you're on the toilet, and this is very important for everybody because I didn't know what the hell happened, and you don't even know what it is. So now when I go down to take a poo, I brace myself and just in case. So because so 3 years ago, I'm going to jump around a bit here. When it first happened to me 3 years ago, I was on the toilet. Don't know whether I sneezed, coughed, did whatever. But if you kind of do one too many things, vasovagal can set in. And I woke up under the vanity at our hotel. And it's not like I was smashed. It was the next morning. We kind of went to bed at a normal time. I didn't stay up real late. It was at a Golden Tea tournament. So, there was some brown pops involved. But so morning too, I wake up.
Whoa. What's a brown pop?
Pop, beer.
You're talking about your butt, and you're talking about brown
Oh, boy.
pops?
Yeah,
No?
just take it easy.
Hey.
Brown pop beers. So, and none of them, it's after a night of sleep. Woke up
Yeah.
to a pool of blood. And I was like, trying to catch my breath. And I'm like, okay, what happened? I thought someone got in our room and mugged me and then was now beating up my roommate. So I get up and I look at my face in the mirror, and it was worse than any hockey injury I've had, buddy. Like, it ended up being, I don't know, 13, 15 stitches on the inside and 10, 15 on the outside. Like, it was a deep one. So then I'm like, I come out of the bathroom.
Whoa, what do you mean? Hold on. No. Hold on. Back up a
Sitting
second.
on the toilet.
I thought you were going to get into like hemorrhoids or something like that.
No, dude.
It was your face?
Well, because what happens with your vasovagal, your blood pressure drops and you can faint. So what ended up happening,
Okay.
I'm sure, and we don't know whether I was sitting on the toilet or standing up, because I know I did two things. I know I hit my inhaler before, after, so whether that helped the vasovagal blood pressure thing, no idea. But in turn, ended up knocking myself out by bouncing my face off this granite countertop. So then that split my head open. So you can fall and maybe not knock yourself out. Just your blood pressure changes as long as you don't hit anything, right? So,
Right.
when I
It's like
woke,
Bob Saget, how he died
exactly,
in his hotel. Right.
right, 100%. And so that's why I was saying. So that was episode 1. I ended up going to get. I tell my roommate, I'm like, I think I need a plastic surgeon. My buddy Swick was like, I thought you were just throwing up. I'm like, thanks, buddy. How long have I been in there? How long have you been passed out for? I've smashed my head. I've fallen off a toilet. Like, and he thinks I'm giggling at myself.
Blood's coming under the doorway into the carpet
Right.
inside the bathroom.
I'm more worried about him
That's
when I
all
got
right.
up because I'm like, oh shit, maybe my buddy now is getting beaten up. So I went out to see him, and then he wasn't. He was just in his bed sleeping. And I'm like, I need a plastic surgeon. And he's like, what? And so we end up going to get stitched up, and ended up playing a full day of Golden Tee. But so this is now 3 weeks ago. I'm literally just rubbing my shoulder. I just took my sling off because it was hurting. Rubbed my shoulder, and as soon as I stopped, I felt a and right to my head, and I sat down pretty quickly because I'm like, something's gonna happen. And literally, I'm sitting in between two of my buddies, and ended up just sort of going over, and then woke up, sort of that same feeling. The other time I woke up in blood. This time I woke up with my mouth on the bar, but my buddies said they were kind of holding me, and I don't know. So I went and got tested, got a EKG. All my blood work came back fine. My triglycerides were a little high, but that doesn't cause any of that. So, and that's going to involve us getting into better shape. But I, don't know whether they that word came up again. She goes, maybe it's a vasovagal. I'm like, well, now that you bring that up, here's what happened 3 years ago, and how do you prevent it, and how do you do all these things? She's like, there's no protocol for it. They don't know. It's like one of those mysterious things. So, and I never really, I'm like, I wish I would have heard this at 13 or 50, 20 rather than 50, but whatever. So yeah, no, there you go, buddy. I've now.
Is it like a nerve something or no? Like when you said you felt it going up your arm, because sometimes I get these shivers that go up my arm and the side of my face, and they've said it's like a nerve issue, right? And whatever, I have a nerve thing in my face, and sometimes it hurts and I feel it, and I get worried because I have this tingling, but they're like, whatever. Was it like that? Like, or like, what was it that?
So, and that's the thing
caused you for concern, because if you can prepare yourself, like,
I know
it's coming. That's why I don't. Scary.
I've heard vasovagal, which I think it's a valve, and that valve triggers or something, and then your blood pressure just drops. I've heard it a lot.
I wrote it down. I'm going to check it out later.
I've heard it a lot with being on a toilet, and so I don't know about that second part, whether that was a vasovagal episode or not. But the doc mentioned it, so I was like, okay, well, I'll just be aware. And so now I'm just kind of like, if I ever sneeze, I'm like grabbing onto the wall, or I don't want to end up falling over again. But yeah, no. So
that isn't that.
And talking
I was going to say, with the health, our age, right?
That's a great thing, and I'm glad you brought that up. And I guess we've kind of been talking about it, but yeah, no. Since I've had the opportunity to now, I'm going back in. I don't know if you know this. My elbow is scheduled for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. What are we today? 2 weeks today. So hopefully that's the end of it. And then I'm now sling free. So starting to get into a little bit more into the therapy side of things. So, and this may be the last time. I don't know if I can wait till I'm in shape to shave it. But it's kind of gotten past the stage where it not bugs you, but going to see clients looking like Grizzly Adams, I don't know if it's going to work.
Right.
And, talking about finances and, hello, come live with me in the forest. But
not only that, you look at yourself in the mirror and you're looking like Gandalf, you kind of,
well, yeah, it
all
does.
of a sudden you think, you associate yourself, your subconscious goes, I'm an old fart.
Right.
I look like a wizard. Clean it up, and you're like, whoa, I look good. I look youthful. Then you become youthful, right?
There you go.
So you're really telling your subconscious, I'm a geezer.
Right.
Just get rid of it.
All right, buddy.
Get some tan on, though. Get tanning lotion, though, for sure, because you're just
get out of town. If you see me putting tanning lotion on, you throw me in the toilet.
You might, after so many podcast episodes, you might be like, you know what? I need a little enhancement. I want to pull this back for sure.
So
Mm,
you, Davey, you've been healthy now for what? How,
ish.
when have you made your commitment?
I
Because I'm
went.
ready
I think it
to.
was about 2017. I was about 225 pounds,
And you
six
are
feet,
now what?
and loose. And loose. I fluctuate between in the 190s, anywhere in there. But
So
when I
so about
really
30
went
pounds,
hardcore,
35 pounds, 40 pounds.
yeah. But when I went hardcore, it was like I got to do this for my life. Like it was such a moment of like I realized I'm going to be getting divorced at some point, and that was a huge part of my life where I was like, you know what, you got to be in shape, and so many other things kind of fall into place because of that. So I went pretty heavy into the keto and exercising at the same time, and just the keto alone was like phenomenal. Blood work was off the chart, like good. Energy level was like extreme, clarity, mental clarity, like unbelievable. And people were seeing me after like, I don't know, 6 months, and they didn't recognize me. I went into one of my buddy's houses where I knew his kids, and his kid looked at me and was pointing at me like, what are you doing here? And the parents are like, what do you mean? Like, this is Dave. They're like, no, what are you doing here? And he thought I was Robert Downey Jr. and Tony Stark from Iron Man because I thinned out and I was like, it was crazy.
Right.
I used to get that all the time, all the time.
That's great.
And it was, and then people just started to want to know what the secret was and what was going on. And since then, I've put like 4 or 5 of my friends through the kind of what I did, and all of them lost like 40 pounds, like as recently as last year. Like my brother-in-law, he went from, I think he was like 213 at Christmas, and he got down to 165. Now he's 5'7", 5'8". He's a little bit smaller, but 213 at 5'8", down to 165 at 5'8".
So
Huge difference. And
I
his energy level off the chart.
right. I was just going to start with exercise. You know, I didn't and watching my diet. The problem being single, and then when you don't have the kids, you don't eat that well, and it's just I might need to squeeze a vegetable in here more and there more often. And so I
Well,
wasn't
no,
really
you don't need to squeeze a vegetable in there. You just need to exclude sugar. That's it. No sugar.
exclude sugar, so I can't have my cookies and milk.
Sugar. No, no. You can have milk, sure.
Why
Not chocolate milk, not strawberry milk.
no, I have white
Yeah.
milk, but what's wrong? So that's the keto situation,
No,
sugar.
keto is like heavy in healthy fat and heavy-ish in protein. A little bit more protein now that we're older because we need to. We don't want to lose our muscle because strength is everything when we get older. But very little carbohydrates. That means fruit. Forget it. Fruit is like the evil Knievel.
Really?
Stay away. Oh yeah, fruit's
Thought it
all
was
sugar,
healthy,
right?
buddy.
You think it. No, no. An apple is not healthy. It is okay. An apple is healthier than a donut, but an apple is not healthier than a cucumber, or it's not healthier than a piece of broccoli. It's a
Holy
it's a
cow!
sugar ball, right? You're talking 26, 30 grams of sugar. Yeah, the fiber helps with that, but when your body it's such a huge formulation, but when your body processes sugar,
All right, I'm
it
writing it
craves more
down, Peter.
sugar.
You got me to write it down.
There's like it's but the thing is, you can't half ass keto. If you start to try to transition into keto and you consume these extra fats in order to get your body to burn fat, because that's the idea. You eat fat, your body's like, where's the sugar? And it freaks out and it goes, there's no sugar in my body. So we got to look for food. And then it goes to your fat storage and it pulls from your existing fat wherever and feeds you. So then you don't get hungry because you've got fat all over. Then your body starts to reshape and you start to look good again and you start to get definition because your fat is getting eaten as energy in your brain, everywhere. When you work out, you're burning fat. But once you kick sugar back in, your body flips like that and starts wanting sugar. So if you eat fat, then you eat sugar, your body will burn sugar first, store the fat. So you got to go all in. We'll talk about way more in detail, but
Well,
you got to go all in.
so a guy
But
like
the
a guy
alcohol is
alcohol what? Alcohol is bad.
alcohol's no good.
Ooh.
Alcohol is no good. When I did it, it was zero alcohol. But that's when cannabis was starting to become legal in Canada. And I could go to a party and I could put a couple of drops of cannabis oil in my whatever, sipping on a drink.
No,
Because drinks are social, right? You always got to have one in your hand.
I think THC is way healthier than booze. But so the thing with that is, okay, me listening to you had me at hello, but I think for a guy like me, even who hasn't done shit other than play Golden Tee, I think it's just important to start there. And, I guess if you want, because there's been so many things, whether it's keto, Atkins, gluten up your ass, Daisy Dukes, Jiminy Jew, I don't even know what they all are called. But and there's always the new thing. So, and I guess, take it to whatever extreme or not extreme, whatever we're going to call it, route you want. But starting with the exercise is important. And if you start getting to where you want to be with that, then God bless. And if not, then
You won't, though.
you won't. You don't think?
You won't with exercise. Not at our age. No, we need to. Nutrition is almost everything. You could do no exercise and clean up your nutrition, and your results will be 10 times what they would be if you just add exercise and continue your nutrition. Do both for sure, but it's really not like if you think that you're just going to start to exercise and you're injured, you can't even exercise. You can't lift weights, and
Not yet.
muscle burns fat. Like, what kind of exercise are you talking about? Go for a walk? Sure. Great. Walks are amazing. Are you going to go for a walk for an hour and a half? Maybe. Are you going to lift
gone
some
for
weights while you're
hikes.
doing
It's
it?
been
I
good.
don't know. But yeah, every day, like
Right.
it is, nutrition is every day. Exercise, especially where you're at right now, isn't. I exercise is good, but nutrition is everything. Is everything.
And so the
What
biggest
you
thing
put
is
in your
fats,
body
buddy,
is
right?
very
That's
important.
what you're saying?
Well, it's
I
the
mean, the
biggest
sugar,
thing
the
is
sugar,
to
sugar,
turn
sugar,
your
sugar.
body to sugar. Get rid of sugar. But that's pasta, gone. That's potatoes, starches, any vegetables that are growing underground, gone. Anything that has got bread, like there are keto breads. Like I've got a keto bread, one carbohydrate. I guess here's the question: do you look at nutrition labels on your food?
My kids do more than I do. Their mom's a big
Okay, so just
nutrition.
start with
I
that.
don't know where she's at.
Take
But
a look at carbohydrates
she went through
and
17 of
sugar.
them too. So, you know what I mean? That's what I mean about all these diets. She went from one, I'm talking about my ex, that, the kid's mom,
Yeah.
who's a trainer and she's in great shape and all that. But she's gone from, I don't know, what, 15 of them while I was around.
Yeah. The thing with keto is that women have a harder time because of their estrogen, and that makes the results a lot slower. I would
I hope
bet
your
if
volume
you were
is all right. You're
to be
getting red.
dedicated, if you were dedicated, you could lose 30 pounds in 3 months.
Oh, I'm sure I could. I like, that's what,
Yeah.
that's why I kind of wanted to see without that, buddy. Like, just start with,
Why waste time?
oh, I know. But I don't,
You're not getting
me.
younger. It's not
But so
getting
even when I
easier.
played, right?
Yeah.
I've got, I guess, good genes, we'll call them.
Yeah.
Good
Muscle
Levi's.
memory.
So kind of wanted to see where that went before jumping into something else after. And I'm
Yeah.
sure I could see it. I went to Buddy, and I mind you, it's with the Golden Tee boys that, some of them exercise, most of them don't. I went to, not the Orange Theory, but the other F45. I don't know if you have them over there. So it's like circuit training.
Okay.
Went for a free week pass. And that changed me. You could see it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Good.
Right.
Well, again, anything is better than nothing.
Right.
But also choosing the right things is if you're going to do something, why not do the right things and stack them? Fasting is huge, right? Fasting promotes hypotheses, and that's enormous. I did that huge. when I was doing good, I was trying to do 18 to 20 hours of no food and then 4 hour window of food. And that worked great. And then I would do a 24 or 48 hour fast once a week
Once a
and
week.
like that. Like I would fast like, yeah. So I would like stop eating on a
I
Sunday
want to run
night
to the
at dinner
pantry and grab
and
my
I wouldn't eat
Oreos.
again until Tuesday. Yeah, no. And then I would, but the thing is when you're on keto and you're burning fat, you don't get hungry. Like I say that and people don't believe it, but you'll go to the fridge and
I'm
open
writing
it and
that
you'll be
down
like, what
too.
am I doing? I'm not even hungry because you're satiated already. You're full. Like if you eat an avocado, I don't know if you like avocado or not, but then it sits in you and it takes a lot longer to burn, so you're not hungry. And then you start burning fat and then you're not hungry
Well,
and you got energy because you got so much energy stored.
are you saying
It's just
keto's
a
just then
whole
just for the old guys, or like not for the young guys? Because they, with all the training that he's, for example, my son, he's burning
no,
a ton
not
of
no no
calories.
no no no.
You can't do that,
Yeah, he's burning carbs like a madman. No.
right? So
If
he's
he
got
wanted to lean out, like if he really
no.
wanted
He's
to get
already lean.
shredded
He's
for
like
like a
me.
photo shoot, that's what I mean. Like for a photo shoot or
Yeah,
something,
no,
then
no,
yeah,
no,
he might cut carbs for 2 weeks and that'll be like
no,
he
no,
just
no.
drop his body fat down to 8% or something. But no, he does no, he's good.
Eight. I
As long as
think
he's eating healthy carbs, like
I think I was at 6.3 when I was in St. Louis. The Basson brothers were
yeah,
4 point. It was like unhealthy or something. Okay.
right.
Well, let's keep it
But
on.
yeah, no, he's good. He's good.
And just so the peeps know, you watch your diet and then let's talk about your exercise routine real quick before we jump on.
Yeah. So I was doing have a sauna. I have an infrared sauna. So I do like
My
a
sister has one.
half an hour infrared sauna.
Is that
Great. Love it. They're cheap. They're not even that expensive. Yeah.
half hour?
Oh, shocking your body's huge. Huge.
So that's the Joe Rogue too.
Spikes your mitochondria. It gets you know, I'm not a cold plunger yet. I'm having a hard time even with the cold showers, which is supposed to be better than sauna. But you know what? I love the sauna. So I would go, and again, in when I was doing really well, now I've just kind of maintaining that flex. And if I got to go to a wedding, I'll jump it up for like, a
For your
month or
photo
two.
shoot.
Yeah, or, photo shoot, whatever. But my radio, I'm not on camera, so I've never my
You are
radio
now,
show's
Dave. You
just
are now.
yeah, I know. I'm
Good
just
for you.
frightened. I have
Got that
nightmares.
sexy voice on there.
But yeah, so a couple of days a week, I'm mostly weight training or trying to, but I like aerobic weight training. I don't like sitting in a gym just pumping
100%.
weights. I like a body pump class where you've got the dumbbells and you're pumping to music and it's bang, bang, bang. But I'm also a yoga teacher. So I'm doing yoga and stretching a couple of times a week, and that helps with the shoulders and your flexibility, the
Right.
triceps. So when I'm doing better, the shoulders start to form and all that, and they look good. But then I sauna, and I also work out in the sauna. I have light weights, and I just do like boxing repetitions, sweat it all out.
How
Yeah.
how long you doing your couple hour bike rides or whatever you said too?
Well, the bike rides are different. It depends the weather. If it's nice weather, yeah, I'm not going to go to the gym. I'm
Right.
going on a bike and riding around for a couple hours. And again, before when I was living in Canada, I had this neighborhood that was like straight uphill, so I would heavy ride it uphill. I don't know, 20 minutes of like intense riding.
Okay.
I would go, I would smoke, and then I would just coast down. I'd have my sauna on, slide into the sauna, do a workout, shower, bed. And sleep is huge too. I don't know what your sleep's like, but it sounds boring, but
No,
it depends,
I know sleep's important for sure.
yeah. Like I'm sleeping 8 hours a night.
See,
Pretty good.
I should
And I
have
have for forever.
I should have wrote down. See, there's the concussion bell again. I should have wrote down. I didn't want to interrupt you though. You're on a flyer there. Something you were saying I wanted to ask you about, but oh well, next time.
Hey,
Okay,
you need a piece of paper. I've been writing notes the whole time.
there you go, buddy. What? Not that started.
All right.
Oh,
Bad word.
Bad
word
word.
alert.
That's sorry. My bad. We haven't edited
Yeah,
one of these.
cut.
That might have to be the first one. Sorry, I apologize.
Yeah,
There's nothing.
no edits.
Nothing
Yeah.
against that.
We're all learning.
Yeah, words are hard sometimes, and so is my brain.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So okay, so that's important. I think where I start with will be, a bit of both. How about that? We'll go with a bit of both.
Yeah.
But
Cut as much carb as you can.
okay,
Just try to cut it. Eat some more protein. And then if you can, don't eat any calories until as late as possible in the day. If you can wait until 12, 1
No,
o'clock
morning.
to consume any calories, that's huge. And then if you eat between 12 and 8, that's great. You also want to be done eating like a few hours before bed, not right before bed.
I do that
If you
every.
go out to the bars drinking and eating wings and walk home and slide into bed, like your body's just like bubbling fat.
Well, I don't eat much, but I might, like I said, milk and cookies, like nice little cozy
Do you
bedtime.
like cookies?
Well, 3, 4.
Come on.
Nah,
Read the labels. Start reading labels.
my goodness.
Start reading labels. Read the sugar and carbohydrates on a label and think about the sugar that's going in your body. You want to try to keep added sugar to like 0. You have a Coke, it's like 30 or 40. One can of Coke.
That's nuts.
It's nuts. You have some cookies, you're running like 20. There's sugar substitutes that you can have, and you can find those. I make my own. Like I make almond flour cookies with, good things in them. I make them all the time, and I snack on those. It
Mm.
takes me like 20 minutes.
Well, my
Are you
dad
are you
needs
a
to do something about something then too, and he's now
yeah.
75. And as you know, Johnny Mack, big Johnny Mack, lovable guy. And that I've tried to just say walk around the block, but he might have to fall into this sort of keto situation a little bit more, but we'll see.
It's hard. At their age, like my dad, our dads were partners for 10 years.
All right.
It's hard. Your body just can't do it anymore. And that's why for me and men and women our age, I don't want to say time's running out, but every year that goes by, it gets harder. And that's not a lie. That's not horseshit. Like that's the truth.
Right.
Your metabolism slows. You don't build muscle as fast. And if you don't build muscle as fast, then you can't burn as much. You get injured and recovery time takes longer. I've never been injured as much as I have since I passed 40. And I'm afraid to get injured now because I don't want to screw up the next month of my life because I just use too much weight. And it's like
All right.
you can feel when you get close. Where before I would get all that weightlifting soreness, and I'd be like, "Who cares?" 2 days later, I'm good.
Did I tell
So
you
it's just
Marky
harder.
came to
It's
my
just
son's game?
did he, my brother?
Yeah.
Right on. No, he
Yeah.
didn't tell me. I don't talk to him a lot.
Right. Yeah. So he showed up. That was great. Good to see him. He looks good. He's doing all right.
Yeah.
I think that's a good dovetail into what we were going to talk about. We're going to talk about some biz, and back in the day, I think we've talked about it in the past. That being our dad's starting mighty dollar, which was, we set up the 38 stores or whatever. And, when you talk about biz partnerships, it's team, it's all of that. I think, when looking into, how did I think, you've talked to me on the podcast about fear and, like I was asking why people always were ready to fight and whatever. And so opening your own business. That's, I talk to my clients all the time. It's one of my favorite people to work with because, I've seen our dads go from millionaires to nothing. And it's that important to do the planning back end of it. When I work with guys, whether it's protection situation, someone were to get hurt, died, disabled, whatever, or a partner leaves, or all those things, that probably, it was a bad time for everything. But my dad ended up buying your dad out. Then dad just missed going to China probably by a couple years, and he had. Why? What was at your store, right? Who was the assistant manager or something that stole a bunch, or I can't.
Yeah.
And so there was just a few too many things, and then ends up going
And
bankrupt.
Dollarama competition
Right.
was like humongous.
Instead of being a 35 man store, guys are coming in with 2,000, and then so they're buying at certain numbers, and the whole different concept. And that's business. So to see someone go from the top to the out the door, it was overwhelming. Dad and I talked about it while I'm up visiting Jack, and he was like, I thought you might have come around, and I'm like, Can you say something? I wish I would have known. You wanted. I was a part of it. Opening them, bringing, my crew from, whether it's Thunder Bay, where we go from construction for 3 weeks, to merchandising, to staffing, to turnkey operation, in 2 or 3 months. So I'd go up and open probably half of these damn things, and you were running one, so you weren't with me, but you see top to
I
bottom.
was with you in Sudbury.
Oh right, yeah. What happened there? What did we do
Yeah,
there?
yeah. I know. We were in Thunder Bay. We were doing shoe golf one time too.
Oh really? Did you come up to the bay?
Yeah.
Oh, the bay
Yeah.
was the
I
bay was
came up
awesome.
like a second or third time, but I didn't set up Thunder Bay. I think I moved to one of our stores there. But yeah, it was, my dad talks about that was the best time of his life. Those 10 years were his
Right.
to the like the pinnacle of his life. And then just
Well,
shit just fell apart, literally.
exactly. So when you,
Yeah.
you talk about being able to put plans together and having a team and having a whatever, there's we had everybody involved. Like your mom was a part of it, good,
Yeah.
bad,
Mark, he
indifferent.
was.
Marky was a part of it.
Yeah.
My sister wasn't. Um, I kind of just came home, did it in the summer, and then my roommate was Frank, who's your grandfather. How old would a
Oh, right. My grandfather, he was old. He was like helping, he was like a carpenter, and he was
right?
physically putting slat wall on the walls, building fixtures, walking around. Well, my brother and I saw my grandfather drill a screw into his thumb, like literally into his thumb,
Yeah,
and then reverse the
seen it.
drill and suck it back, and then
Mhm.
wrap it up with like a cloth that he found on the carpet, like on the
He's a
ground.
machine.
Mark and I are like,
He's
yeah, like the old school mentality of construction and workmanship and just toughness is, I don't know if it's the same as it is now. Like, I think it's a
oh,
little
definitely
different.
not. We've already discussed
Yeah.
today's society, but I driving up to see Frank, driving up to Thunder Bay with Frank, and I think my buddy Red, not Red Eye, like I'm talking
Yeah.
to, but Greg Horton, and
Yep.
we go up, and of course we've got a 24-foot rider stacked, and you know how heavy slat wall is, and
Yeah.
I've got those trucks have normally 2 feet of clearance from bottom bed to top of tire. We've got this much. And so to turn them, you had to be really careful, like taking a turn on the 401, because you're going to dump this truck. And Frank's
Yeah.
going to fly out the roof. Like lots of things are going to happen. So I'm making it up there. We leave Toronto. We're maybe make it to Sudbury. And what's T-Bay to Toronto? 14, 12, something like that?
Oh,
Sudbury's.
no, it's like 20.
Oh, is it? So
Sudbury's about 5-6. Yeah.
5-6. So
Thunder
we
Bay's
make
like
it
20.
5-6, get pulled over. The cop's like, "What do you have in here?" And I'm like, "Well, we're just going to open the store for our dad's, blah, blah, blah." He goes, "I need to check it out." I try to open the back thing, and one of the fixtures comes jamming out the door, almost decapitates the cop. He's like, he kind of looks underneath. He goes, "Get this shit out of here." And I'm like, "Sorry, just trying to
Yeah.
get along on our way here. Thank you very much for the warning." So make it up to Thunder Bay, and keeping Frank, occupied it was a chore. And I told him, I said, "Frank, you can't do anything while I'm doing this demolition. I can't have you get hurt. You just go get a coffee. I'll
Yeah.
take you to the strip joint, whatever it needs be. Like, let's
Yeah.
just get you out of here." Well,
Because he was 80.
was he
Around
that
80.
about that?
Yeah.
And
He was like late 70s, early 80s.
he was deaf, right? Pretty close to it.
Yep.
Had some hearing
Yeah.
aids. Had to test it. I remember the buzzing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, buddy, I'm snipping. So we had to turn I think it was a Golden Griddle or whatever it is up there, to a dollar store. So those Golden Griddles had, like behind each one of their benches, they had like these brick fixtures. So all we did was smash these brick fixtures down, and we had, I don't know, 3 to 5 30-yard dump bins of brick. And so now we're trying to snip walls, And so I'm just snipping these studs, and I'm like, all clear, all clear. Everybody looks around. Yeah, clear. And, we're pushing over this wall, and all of a sudden Frank comes walking by. And I'm like, motherfucker. And then he just like literally walks right, and the wall falls behind him. Boosh. And I'm like, there was numerous times. Frank, is that live? Yeah. Live socket.
Yeah.
Yep, that's live. Yep. Okay, good. His hair stood up on end. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So needless to say, I had to try and keep him up a lot at night. And so that was my objective. And so I would, when we talk about entertaining, like it was different. So that was in a AAA mall, as they call it. So there's rules and restrictions. We had to put, cover the glass so nobody could see the work that was going on. And especially they didn't want to see our work. Especially because at about 3 o'clock, I had a case of beer for the guys, and that was not allowed. I'd take the mall guys out just to give them a little entertainment, and sort of, hey, we're on your team kind of thing. And in T-Bay, there was a couple peeler joints that we'd take Frank to and just see him. They had good food at them, actually, so we'd go eat our dinner, and Frank, he had the spaghetti all over his face, and I'd take him back.
Oh, yeah.
And we'd end up going to have another couple cervezas at a bar or whatever, and then fortunate enough, you bring a friend home or whatever the case may be. You walk, Frankie's my roommate, and he's got his tighty whities over the freaking lamp with his jibbies in a glass, and
his teeth, right?
Yes. And so this girl's looking like, what is this? And I'm like, oh, don't worry, we're part of a crew. This is our team. This is my team. And you'd see Frank. I'm like, don't worry about him. He's sleeping. But then you look over and he's like, oh my God.
I know. And it's legit because he told stories about that.
Did he really?
He loved going to work with you. Yeah, he did.
Great.
Like, that's a story that has made its round within our family.
That's awesome.
That, he's lying on the bed and you're telling him, no, he's asleep. Don't worry about him. He can't see anything. And literally, he's like this.
Is he still around?
But I didn't know about the dentures in the glass.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I can imagine that because he would take them out all the time and just rub them under the sink.
Oh, there was underwear here with a skid bigger than my head. There was a glass of teeth. There was him. It was a chapter. It was a enjoyment. It was life. It was cool. It was a good time. Is he still around?
We had no, it was a while ago.
Oh,
but we had one time we were building a store with your dad, and the superintendent came in to check on us and say, are you doing things to code, and who's your foreman? And my grandfather walks between shelving and someone drops a piece of wood on his plug for his cable for his drill, and he's yanking it as hard as he can. And your dad looks at him and he goes, he's our foreman. And then the guy just left.
I don't want to deal with this.
He's like, okay, I'll come back. And he just left. He's just like,
oh, buddy,
it was pretty funny. Well, you got to use people like if you.
There was numerous times, and because there was, like, that's what we were talking about, AAA malls versus, there was what do they call it, like off a street where there's attached to nothing, so you can kind of do what
strip
you want.
Mall.
Yeah, strip mall, then nothing, like Main Street in wherever we were, Muskoka, or all those things, and
Trenton.
Right, that was close to the cottage.
I remember you bought a Corvette one day when we were in Trenton.
Mm-hmm. That's when I
was
my
there.
T-Bird Turbo Coupe into that's off.
What's that like? Here's a question I have for you, because I remember you were trying to sell me the T-Bird for a little bit.
Oh, really?
And I was a little bit afraid because I was like, I don't want to, because it stood out, right? That car stood out. When you would come to Kingston and you would drive down Princess Street, if people knew who you were, like, that's your car, like my brother's Mustang kind of thing, right? The same kind of weird color, but just unique. And I thought, I don't know if I want this, because then I'm going to be like, people don't know it's me. It's going to think it's you, and who knows? Maybe I'll get in trouble or something. I don't know. Maybe I'll pick up women. I don't know.
Right.
But what was it like having or having something that you could that was identified with you and kind of, I'm sure it gave you some power or made you feel like you're a Shooter McGavin kind of thing. The
I
car,
don't
like
know.
women would have liked it. No,
Well, because I went from that to then to the vet. So whatever, they were both kind of good cars. Is what I did to them after. I had some sound systems put in, straight pipes on the vet. But the car doesn't
did
make
you
you.
use
You
them for
you
like
make you.
picking up women? No, you don't think so?
Yeah, I'm sure we played I know we played the music real loud, so that was an eye catcher, I guess. But I
Yeah.
think, like anything, it's what's inside. So take it for what it
Because I think
is.
about men doing their or
Right,
having their midlife crisis and they go buy the car, right?
right. You still
But
need to
the
have
car
the.
doesn't.
You still need to have the you, right?
Yeah,
Whether
yeah, yeah.
it could be different. There's we could probably name half a dozen guys that had a car or had something else, but didn't have the inside part. So
So what is the inside part?
the inside part is just being all the things we've talked about with being the good guy, you know, being true to yourself and then true to others. I think that I think that's the best advice I can give. I probably shot no pun intended. I probably shot the truth all the time, maybe a little too blunt, and that's why my dad kind of said, you get along with everybody else but adults. So, because sometimes the adults couldn't handle the conversation, a kid could, or a senior could, or a doggy could.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. But if there's some man divorced, right? We're both divorced,
mm-hmm.
and is looking to get on the date scene, and I'm sure there's a lot. It's not easy. I think it's getting harder, but there has to be some types of skills that they may be able to work on, or at least consider working
Communication.
on. Communication, right?
Right.
So how do they do that? How do you learn to be a better communicator?
Well, not to sound cheesy, but I think you got to be true to yourself, right? Like even when I talk Canadian to people and they don't understand me, I'm like, what did you just say? The Because it's whatever me, or they'll try and understand it. What was the how? Not just all right. He just talked some gibberish. He's on absinthe or whatever. Like they
Right.
want to know, and so you got to have something intriguing about you. If you're just there to pick somebody up, or if you're just there to tell them all about you, or if you're just there to, you know, what are you trying to do? What's your accomplishment on the date? You know, to try and befriend that person, to try and get in her pants, to try and do whatever.
Yeah.
Well, she's got to want to be a part of that too. You just can't always relate to the. All right, let's both be smashed at the bar, and hopefully we end up playing tonsil hockey in the backyard. At our bar, it's
Right.
called the Grassy Knoll.
Mhm.
So, what's
It's
that?
kind of like Prince Harry's grassy knoll behind the bar.
So, depending on what you truly want out of it, does Harry get squarey on the Grassy Knoll?
Yeah.
But you know,
But I like what you said about, going in with an intention, because you kind of have to have some intention, to a degree where you're not going to either come off too hard, too fast, but there needs to be some sort of an end game. And I think as men get farther away from perhaps dating the way they want to, then there's a lot of pressure and a lot of expectations. And when they look online, also with the way women look online, it just seems like everybody's having fun and they look good and healthy. Those are the women they think they should be able to attract, yet they don't have the game for it, if there is a game, or they can sense that there is ulterior intentions,
let
i.e., just want to have sex.
right. Let's remember though, whether it's the people they're seeing online or wherever, the pretty ones, ugly ones, the indifferent ones, the fat ones, the thin one, whatever it is, there's going to be good and bad with everything, right? The same thing
Yeah.
about life and good coaches and bad coaches and all that. So, you know, depending on what you truly like, I think what helps is mutual interests. It's of course you're going to be go get to go do your own thing, and she can get to do her own thing. I think that's invaluable. Like it's too important to not, have. But if you're being, if she wants to go on a hike and she likes hiking or golf or whatever, it's good to have that mutual side too. So, and then being able to talk about it, I can talk, I guess. I guess we're talking now, but I could sit and be quiet just as easy, with someone in my lap, or you know what I mean, just watching the two.
Keep the beard for Christmas.
This is after.
There you go. Yeah.
After. This is after hours Santa Claus on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe's Bar Santa Claus Night, July, Christmas in July with Chris McKenzie and
Buddy,
Santa Claus.
Speaking of Christmas in July, do you even know what that is?
I do not.
Have you ever been to I guess you haven't been to Put in Bay.
Where's that?
Ohio, just sort of out from Toledo-ish. So,
Okay.
And it's just like a Daytona Beach for old people. We've been there for a few bachelor parties and a few couples events, and Christmas in July is the big weekend. That was the weekend. It's been a few years since I've been down there, but it's been a lot of years. We went with a bunch of Canadians, and half of them end up in the Slammer. You know them, Horton and Buck, and Buck didn't. But so we're partying through the night. We're just kind of sort of buying time to get them out of there. I'm like, let's go check it out and see if we can do it. We pull in, and it wasn't even like they probably shouldn't have, because it was another fight that they got caught on the outskirts of outside the bar, and then they got pulled into it. But so we get in there, and all we hear is someone yelling, and it must have been Buck. And the guy I'm like, hey, can we pick up my friend? And the guy goes, who's your friend? I'm like, that guy you can hear. And he goes, get him the fuck out of here now. I'm like, thank you, take him with us.
Yeah.
But that was
It's like a reverse.
Yes. No, get it. We don't want anything to do with these people.
Right.
So we
want the ones that fall asleep, not the
Right.
guys that are causing shit.
So I did this a few times, not go to jail, but I did this a few times where we went to Put in Bay. So I knew the routine, and we'd go in on a Thursday night, get our place, because it wasn't that much more, because you're renting for the weekend or whatever. And so Friday morning, but it was fun to see the guys right off the get-go, just like the first night of the party. They would I think we stopped at duty free, and there might have been 6 of us in the car in my truck, and we were picking up 2 guys or a guy at the Toledo airport. By the time we got to Put in Bay, everything was gone. Like those guys were pissing on the side of the road. I'd just drive up a few 100 yards, and they'd have to chase me with their wieners hanging out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the night one, big night, everybody wakes up on our way to Kings Island. So we do not Kings Island, Cedar Point. If you haven't done Cedar Point, you like roller coasters, Dave, you have to. So on our way to Cedar Point, there's a ferry, because it's an island. One ferry you can take your car, one you can't. So we take the car, we're on our way down. I have, let's just say, loose bowels to start with, whether it's my digestive system or my fitness level. And I've had it
Or the vasovagal.
The vasovagal. So I'm like, guys, I gotta go to the restroom. And I like pretty much, I must have jumped 3 lanes and I don't even know if there was an off ramp, just blew off the highway. Thank goodness we pull into this, not abandoned, but must have just newly closed, almost restaurant. Well, it was a restaurant, but nobody was in it. And jump out of the car and literally disrobe and try not to hit yourself. Well, that sets off guys throwing up or trying to get out of the car to throw up the other side. And they're now beside this. And all I thought afterwards was, thank goodness this restaurant was closed. Imagine Jim, Sally, and their kids sitting at the window, and they've got guys pooping and throwing up. And hi, we're off to
Right
Cedar
there.
Point. We're going to the
Yeah.
roller
Yeah.
coasters. And we made
Yeah.
it, had a great
Take
time.
off, eh?
Yeah,
Hosers.
hey, hosers, we like beer. And so then one of our guys paid the whatever 50 entry and rode one. I took him on the big ride first, and he's not much of a roller coaster ride. And rode one roller coaster and then sat on a bench the rest of the day. I mean, needless to say, we
Oh,
jumped
yeah.
on every one and had a great time. And then you go back to the island and you party like rock stars again. So
Yeah.
fun times. Oh, and that's when we met. And see, be careful of the Red Bull. This when you talk about partying. Red Bulls are very dangerous. Remember that, Dave.
Mhm.
Especially
I'm not
if
a
you
Red
drink-
Bull. I'm not a energy
Yeah.
drinker.
especially if you drink a lot. My buddy just said he tried to go to the dentist last week as well, and he had too many Red Bulls the night before, and his blood pressure was up, and they wouldn't do work on his teeth. So
Really?
yeah,
Yeah. Once in a while, sure. If I have them at the, vodka, Red Bull, or whatever, but not like when I'm partying by myself and I'm by myself. But like house. Excuse me.
this is another
Red
after
Bull.
hour show,
No. Yeah. No. I'm not a big energy drinker.
right?
Yeah. But to each his own. But I hear you. Especially the before when they were full of sugar too. That was pretty bad.
Right.
But now they got the sugar-free ones, so maybe I can get into them.
There you go, bud. Well, okay, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
before,
start
we
working
were-
on that for myself for sure. I don't know. We're coming up on an hour, Big Dave. That was a fun one.
All right.
I think it was a good time.
Good stuff. Lots on my list.
List. He's gonna vasovagal it till.
List.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say. Oh, what we were gonna talk. I was gonna ask you about, or ask the people about, was maybe going through my career. If I'd have to find a hockey player that could talk for an hour, but grab a teammate from sort of each sort of team throughout. That would be fun. Talk, because I can't remember the stories. You just reminded me of a few even today.
Yeah.
I think that'd be interesting. I think talking about some early days would be interesting. Talking about some today's days, like we've jumped in and pertaining to today's events, or whether it's biz or whether it's life or whatever. So I'm having a lot of fun doing it, and let's continue to do that, buddy, and maybe put a smile on a few people's faces. I think today was a little less serious. I giggled a little more. Oh, and I would like to say, I don't know, whether I should. I apologize for saying that word that I said earlier, but I didn't.
It wasn't that bad.
It was at myself. So yeah, and it's I guess
it's tough.
Today is a lot. Even my kid. So the other word was, I think I said for little people, whether it was whatever word. I don't know what's good, bad, and different.
Well,
but
maybe at the end of your shows, you could have like a correction part,
correction.
right? So it's like, right, corrections.
I was
Chris's
acting
corrections.
idiotic, or I don't know what word. I
Right.
was not thinking.
Identify what the word was, and maybe how we can get better from that.
Anyway, buddy, lots of love, man.
I think it's a good idea that you have some other people.
Yeah.
You talk to some of your hockey buddies, talk to some of your family, get a little bit more of
we might
you
even have
out
me,
there,
you, and Carolyn if we
and,
can figure a three-way.
yeah,
on this thing.
some threesomes. Yeah, let's have some
You're not having a
group
threesome with my
conversations,
sister, buddy.
and some.
And I'm not going to be a part of it if you do. That'll segue right into it. All right, Carrie, you ready for this?
Right.
I'm now leaving the room.
Yeah. Well, you say that, but when I was at your cottage in 2019, we literally had a conversation about threesomes. Me, your sister, and your dad were talking about it, and your sister's husband, Chris.
Oh,
and she mentioned it on her show like the week later. She's like, I don't know how we started talking about this, but I was at the cottage and
Seriously?
some guy there just started talking about threesome. Yeah.
The morning show. They're trying to get those women.
Yeah.
So Carolyn is on host of the morning show. So their audience is supposed to be, what she told me, like 20, whatever, 5 to 55-year-old women. So I'm sure maybe that's why they needed to spark a little interest in the show.
Right. But even, not to continue this show, but this is a big topic as we get older, is that we, in marriages, and this was part of mine, you start to wonder what it's like to be with someone else. And you start to think about, is it healthier to maybe bring someone into the relationship? Or is it better that we
Oh,
split and go find our own? And a lot of people try that bringing in, and it would be interesting to see how that actually works out.
I think for a
Maybe
lot
you
of,
have some guests that have done that.
I think
I
it
don't know.
would, I'm not saying it's for everybody, but if that's what you need, because I think it seems like more people that would either got married too young or didn't experience something, or never tried, or whatever, and that's why I guess we'll use it as an excuse for myself. I tried everything, whatever, so I didn't need to try anything else. No, let's not say that. It's because there's
Hey,
doot doot doot. Yeah, the
ever
number
so
3
tell
was
me.
involved. Sure, yes, but
Yeah.
me and my buddies, we just showered together in a locker room. There was nothing else after that.
All right.
But yeah, no. So I think for all relationships, that's the communication part again, right? So if there was something
Yeah.
that,
That's a scary one, though. Imagine going to your spouse saying, listen,
well, hey, I'm ready.
I love you, but
If you're
yeah,
ready to jump
but I
ship,
need
what do you
more.
have to lose? You know, if why
Well,
not?
sure. I guess, yeah. One of my friends was like that. He's like, we're done anyway. So, like, why not throw that out there and just to
Right.
do it? But I think some people are also wanting to continue the marriage because of all the, the implications of a divorce,
Right.
but also be able to go taste some other flavors. And yeah, I think there's a lot more of those thoughts going on than people realize.
All right. Well, I think that could be a whole other show, buddy. I think
Yeah, get
I
some
don't
guests that are into,
polygamy or whatever the case may be.
not just
Experimenting,
sharing, couples sharing. Yeah, foursomes, right? What about that? There's
swingling a
got to be a lot of
ding.
that too. You just, yeah,
You all right?
that'd be
Okay,
fun.
broski. Well, you have a great week, and stay off
All
the
right,
absinthe, and I will
I
start
will.
my
Take it easy.
training. Okay, buddy. Lots of love.
Later.